Back everybody. Today we're talking about War on Cheaters. That's right, for Rust Console Edition for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, Next Generations, and everything in between. And I'm Jade Monkey. Alright, this is a hot one. Whether you're on the legit side and it feels like there's no relief in sight, or whether you're a stinky cheater thinking you're just going to get away with everything. There's a lot to address here. We've had a lot of communication directly. We have some things from 011, some things that we've noticed, and things that are coming for us in the future. So we're going to talk about the truth of cheating on Rust Console Edition. Let's get into it. All right, so to kind of clear things up here, there was a dev blog that talked about third-party devices and what does that mean. They kind of covered it a little bit here, but I have a lot of communication where people are like, oh, it's Zen, Zim, or we're talking about input spoofers, and they're like, well, what about Kronos? And I'm like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's all cheating, right? Basically, these are mouse and keyboard devices that help you make it look like the controller is being a controller, but it's actually a mouse and keyboard, if that makes sense. And then on top of that, there's macros and stuff. Either way you cut it, no matter how you're using it, it's all cheating. And it's definitely something we've all agreed to when you play the game. When you click through that third-party EULA, well, guess what? You've agreed to not use these things. So I know both consoles support mouse and keyboard, but that's only for games that allow it. There are certain arenas or walled gardens where they're like, hey, only use controller. Well, then in that case, they don't want you to. So you're circumventing it, and you are a cheater. Okay, so let's talk about this and what it means for us. The use of third-party devices to gain an unfair advantage in Rust Console Edition has been a concern for the community since the game's release. These devices include mouse and keyboard converters for console play, as well as scripts that minimize weapon recoil and enable the use of macros. Boo! We understand the frustration this causes for those of you that just want fair and fun competitive experience, and we're committed to finding new solutions. It goes on. To combat this issue, we're continually improving our auto detection systems. And developing new ones. Hello. We will not disclose, very important here, we will not disclose when or how these systems will be implemented, but we assure you that we are taking this issue seriously. Additionally, the introduction of community servers in the future will offer server owners the ability to restrict access to players suspected of using third-party devices. Is this a global doo-doo list? Maybe? Stinky cheater list? I'm all about it. Providing server owners the tools they need to help fight against this unfair practice. We also want to reduce the number of false reports we are receiving. And this kind of goes through it here too. And we need your help to achieve this, and hopefully we can help you point this out here. Please note that hacks like auto-aim, invincibility cheats, see-through walls, infinite ammo are not possible on Rust Console Edition because it does not allow the modification of local game files. However, some game scenarios can create a misleading appearance, such as when a player's high ping causes shots to appear to hit when they do not due to server lag. We kindly ask you to raise awareness about this issue of false reports as false reports only create more noise and make it harder for us to take action against actual cases. Now, hopefully this helps reinforce that. So what are you looking at here? So the biggest thing here is probably the mouse and keyboard motion and the consistency in which you're seeing this. So a lot of times you'll see, and I'm not saying that anybody that does this is a cheater, but I'm just saying consistently they will do this. So if you're seeing a beamer of a weapon that's not typically a weapon that you beam with, and they're consistently landing shots, sus. And also look for this type of movement. You'll see this a lot. It can feel like auto-aim to console players for sure, but like, okay, so I'm using a mouse and keyboard now. You'll see the flick, but you'll see the flick with accuracy. So they'll flick and land shots. I'm not saying people can't do that on console. They can. But if they're consistently doing it and consistently doing it at range, or if they're sitting on top of their base and using something like an M249 and they're absolutely hip-shotting you, or they're just beaming you consistently, definitely put them on the list and submit it. Something to look out for. Obviously, recoil reduction, if you do see it, that's a big one too. So use a report system and be accurate. Any information that you have to help lead them to it will help, but be accurate. Don't just complain in the report. This is going to help them take action, and this is a manual submission, so somebody has to look over this. But it does not stop here. There are many more layers to this. Just to show you, there is the game side and there is the platform side. So just so you know, Microsoft and Sony hate this. Games that are specifically designed for consoles, or I'm sorry, yeah, for console controllers, they don't like you using things that circumvent that. So Sony and Microsoft are actively looking for ways to sniff this out. and there'll be so many people in the comments. Just look below this video. People will be like, "Oh, they can never find us because it spoofs the controller. It acts just like it." It's like, we know how it works. What we're saying is it's sneaky, but they're going to find it, and when they do, it's going to be en masse, and it's going to be glorious. So just know that Microsoft and Sony are actively working on this. So there's not only a game detection level, a manual level, but there will be a platform level of detection at some point. I just know that they are both hot to trot on that. And if you want to see some more proof on the game level, because Rust Console Edition is also going to be doing it on the game level more than once. Fortnite's been implementing stuff, and I know these games do support mouse and keyboard, but they also have controller lobbies. So again, for the controller lobbies, they have detection systems in place. Call of Duty, Rainbow Six, just to name a few, Apex, they all have things in place. So that's on the game level, and it will be on the system level. And on a manual level, because people can report it. So on to the next piece here. And I've covered this before, but I do think it's pertinent. If you're loading into the game, if you look in the lower right-hand corner, this exists in the game now. Some of these features are available, some of them aren't. But when you do a report, they do show up here, and also the status. And I think it's the envelope? I can't remember if it's the bell or the envelope. But anyways, those show up there, and the status of that report. And I've seen a lot of people already in my comments saying that some people that they have reported are starting to get banned. Now, and if you're out there going, "Oh, I've been cheating and I haven't been caught," and you think you're in the clear, this happens on multiple levels. Okay, this isn't just like "Oh, I passed you by. I didn't find you. I guess I can never find Waldo." That's not how this works. It'll happen multiple times, and it will be quietly. It will be stealthily. Stealthy, is that a word? Stealthy. They're not going to announce it, and it's going to happen more than once. So don't take it as a sign if you haven't been caught yet, as like, "Oh, I'll never be caught." Or I should say, keep doing it, and then we'll just laugh in your face when you actually get banned. And then they'll come up with an excuse like, "My dad used my account, and I went over to my friend's house, and then he used the thing, and then, uh-oh." Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. If anybody watches Komomo, you've heard all of the lies from cheaters, right? It'll be so funny. But just know, there has been a clampdown on even more bans. This is happening. I've had people come in my comments, people that have been banned, people that have submitted bans, and they're saying that people are starting to get banned. I don't think this is the big wave yet, but who knows? Like they said, they're not going to announce it. They shouldn't. There should be massive waves multiple times and with different types of systems, and it's going to be beautiful. So along with that, once servers do come online, custom servers, we'll have more of that information down here. I think it's, again, I can't remember if it's the bell or the envelope, but also server-side information. So if you're a mod or if you own a server, you'll see information come in there. But in addition to that, it will also be the communication for banning people, right? And hopefully that big list that they're talking about is going to be, you know, like stinky cheaters. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So, all right. So, all right. What can you do now about it? Because I know these things aren't fully implemented yet, at least as far as I can tell. Obviously, we don't have custom servers yet, but we will. Here's some things you can do, and I know it feels pretty impossible, especially if you're a solo and you have something like a Zerg sitting on the rooftop beaming you with like no recoil. It's super annoying. I get it. We've been there. Do this. Just remember, they still have to play the game, and they still have to land the shots. And most of these people rely on this so much, they are terrible at the game. So take the distance away from these fools, right? If you have to cross over, make sure that you're using like cover, deployables, or I should say the deployable barrier, the wooden wall, anything you can do. If they're being extra obnoxious, make sure you TC their area. Do it when they're offline. Offline raid them as much as possible. If they're cheaters, make it as terrible as possible to play the game, right? Because you're like, "Hey man, you're using a mouse and keyboard." Well, guess what? You're getting offline raided. That's a one time, the only time I'll be like, yes, go actively seek out offline raids at that point. You know, get them off the server, dude. Because just remember, they're still bad. They still have to land the shots, and most of the time they're terrible, and their game sense is even worse. So just take it off the table, take the distance away, and do whatever you can, guerrilla warfare style in game, and make sure to take them out. And just don't give them the range, and that'll help tremendously. And don't forget to report them, right? My goodness. So, custom servers are coming in this year. That has been confirmed by the developers. Knock on wood. Hopefully they don't delay it again. But I do have information on Rust custom servers. I'll go ahead and link that now in the upper right-hand corner. If you want to go check that out. And we should have it on the end screen as well. Okay. So what they're talking about there is, and I'm sure there's more layers to this, but this is an actual screenshot from the developers. And this is also another layer that we can use to help remove them. So we'll have admins. They're kind of like moderators, more or less. They'll have certain abilities, but more importantly, you see that banned list right there? That's what I'm talking about. I tell you right now, we're going to have 2 servers, at least. We're going to have one legit bi-weekly standard rates, and then another event server. If we catch you at all, or my moderators catch you at all using a mouse and keyboard, that's it. You're done on both servers, right? That's it. And we'll find you, right? Like, you can't just be swapping out accounts and stuff. So, just know, if you're using a mouse and keyboard on our servers, you're gone. Alright, so, and I know so many people are waiting for custom servers. Us too, and it feels like it's forever and a day away. I feel like it's been forever since they announced it, but it is coming this year. And we are super, super excited about it. Alright, so, on to the next piece here. A lot of people are saying, hey, if I get banned, well, first of all, they're like, hey, it's a spoofing device, I'll never get banned, but if I get banned, I'll just evade it. Well, guess what? There's ban evasion, right? And again, as I said before, it's multi-layered. So just because you missed one wave or somebody got banned and you didn't, it doesn't mean you're invincible. It just means they're coming. And they're coming for you, especially if you're cheating. And I always tell people, they're like, well, I have all these different excuses. Or what if I'm just really good at shooting? How are they going to know the difference? I'm like, it's not going to be a person that determines it. They're going to have a system in place and they'll find you. And I'm like, look, you don't have to worry about any of those things if you're not cheating. But if you're cheating and you're worried about a good excuse, well, guess what? There is no good excuse. Stop cheating. Stop being a scumbag, dude, right? And I got to tell you, it's just like shoplifting in real life. So many people are like, oh, you can get away with shoplifting. Don't do that, right? Don't do that ever. And you may feel like you can get away with it 9 out of the 10 times, but that one time you get caught, you'll wish you'd never done it, right? That's some knowledge that my dad passed on to me, right? It's going to hurt, right? You think about all the skins you have on there, right? And you'll be like, oh, I could just sign in with a different account or do whatever. No, no, no. They'll find you. There's unique identifiers to your system, right? So you're going to get caught, and there will be more than one of these ban waves. And even if one ban wave comes through and it bans a ton of people and you're like, oh, I made it out, there's going to be a whole nother wave of that. And they're just going to get better and better. And that's just on the game level. Wait till the systems start coming for you, dude. Then it's really going to hurt. Once they start detecting those things, they're all out of here, man. So I urge people that are playing like that to just come back and play legit and just throw it away and never look back. All right, so hopefully you found this useful, helpful. You should have the Rust custom servers up on the end screen. And if we're live, come by and say hi to us. And we love you. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.